So here I am in a program called Adobe Bridge. I'm just using it to show you some images, and also it allows us to view what's called metadata, which is information that the camera saves about the file with the image file itself. So that first scene requirement is fill the frame with the sky. Now, sometimes if you don't have any or very distinct clouds, autofocus doesn't work very well on focusing on the sky. So you might have to switch it over to manual focus and then adjust the outer ring on the lens if you're using our checkout cameras or whatever your camera has as far as manual focus control. And so you would shoot with the standard exposure. Shoot that same scene by engaging the bracketing technique that I go over in the other videos to get exposure value +1. Shoot the same scene with exposure value +2, then go to -1 and -2. I'm going to go back to the beginning there. So you'll notice over here in the metadata panel, I'm going to zoom in a bit, it's got 2 dashes right here. So that actually means exposure value 0 on this particular camera model. There you see exposure value +1, +2, -1, and -2. So let me zoom back out. So then the next scene type requires you to fill the frame with 2/3 sky. So that's about 2/3 of the frame, and then 1/3 ground. So place the horizon line at about the bottom third of the frame. Shoot it at exposure value 0, the standard exposure, +1, +2, -1, and -2. Now, obviously, some of these images are going to be really too light or really too dark, and that's okay. We're not trying to get good exposures all the time. The assignment is trying to show you how to change exposure. And then once you do that, you would come back and evaluate which one works best. And I'll do a recap of this after you do the assignment to kind of indicate some important things that we want to really make sure that we understand out of this assignment. Then you would do a scene where something's backlit. So since you're going to be shooting outside, where the sun is coming from behind your subject. This isn't maybe the best example of backlit, but it technically is backlit. The sun is coming from behind this tree branch here. So again, shoot at the standard exposure, exposure value 0, exposure value +1, +2, -1, and -2. Fill the frame with something that's black or very dark. Again, the key is fill the frame. You wouldn't want to do something like this where you consider this the dark thing and then you have all this other space taken up by something else. That's not going to really show what I'm trying to get at this assignment. I need you to really fill the whole frame with that dark or black surface. So we're at exposure value 0, +1, +2, -1, and -2. And then photograph something that's white or very light. Again, fill the frame. Otherwise, this exercise is not going to work properly. Exposure value 0, +1, +2, -1, and -2. You might be surprised at some of the things that you get from this assignment. It kind of goes back to another video that I had where I talked about how the subject tone influences the way our light meters read reflected, I should say, light from our subjects. So again, you will do those kinds of images. I'm basically showing you everything that's summarized here. You'll get 25 images. When you're shooting this assignment, you should either have this handy electronically or print it out because it is fairly tedious and it's important to follow along with the requirements. And again, like I said, you'll just turn it in as you have been with your other assignments. Start on this sooner rather than later. I would start working on it within a day or two of the folder date. That way, if you run into questions, you can contact me. Don't wait till the day it's due and then start trying to work on it. That's not going to help you be very successful. You don't want to do that. But otherwise, if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to let me know.